Okay, folks, Japanese Grand Prix at Motegi and MotoGP this past weekend, and King, we have a new world champion.
New world champion, which you didn't think we would get so soon.
Look, okay, I'm going to address this now, okay? I was right for a very long time on this one, okay? and, like, the odds on this were very, very unlikely, okay? I think Lorenzo had to finish off the podium, and I think Rossi had to finish 13th or lower, with Marquez winning to be able for him to win the world title on the day. Guess which all three things of those happened? Yes, all three of them did. So yeah, I've got to look modest and irritated on this podcast now, King. Thanks a bunch for reminding me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Anyone to get one over on the host, right? But yeah, Marc Marquez wins the Japanese Grand Prix, his first MotoGP victory at Motegi, and he is now a triple MotoGP World Champion. And King, what an unbelievable. Well, I guess it's in some ways it's an anticlimax that Marquez won the title here, and just put the final nail in the coffin, really. But what an unbelievable achievement.
Yeah, 3 world championships, and he's only 23 years old.
In case you didn't need to guess, he is the youngest rider to ever win 3 MotoGP championships. I think he was 2 years younger than Valentino Rossi when he won his third title in 2003. He's also the youngest rider to win 5 world titles in any of the 3 classes. He's won this world title. He's the only man to have scored points in every single round in all 3 categories. Nobody has done that in any of the 3 classes where they've scored points in every single round. Not even your boy Brad Binder, King. How about that?
It's fair. It's fair.
It's reasonable enough. The KTM man will concede on this one.
Whoa. Deep down, I do love Marquez.
Yes, I know you do. Like, we've talked about this on the podcast before, and I'm unashamed in my love for Marc Marquez, and the guys are. It's like, I'm going to use this probably in the video highlights at some point if I do make a video segment on this. But it's like watching Ronnie O'Sullivan at his absolute best. Like that's the comparison I draw to is just a young genius at the absolute top of his game. It's this guy, because compared to where he was last year, King, I mean, he's unbelievable. It's like he's a different rider compared to what he was last year.
Yeah, dude. How do I put this? It doesn't seem like he's a different rider, but it seems like the team around him is completely different. That they are, been able to provide him a bike to give him the opportunity to be in these kinds of positions.
Yeah, it's weird, because I remember we looked back at the start of the season in March, and from what I remember, the morale in that camp was low. It was low. They were saying they may not win a Grand Prix all year. Everybody thought that Yamaha was going to run away with it. Lorenzo won the first round in Jerez. We won it very convincingly. Looked like he didn't get out of third gear until right at the end, basically. And it was looking pretty bleak in that camp, and yet here we are. Marquez has won a title 3 rounds early. 3 rounds early! Like, the last time he did that was when he won his second title, and that was a year that he'd already won 13 times to that point. 11, I should say, because it was his last 2 wins came later in the year at Malaysia and Valencia. But, it's an unbelievable. Like, I think the best way of describing it, I think, is like I don't know if you've ever seen those Kobe Bryant commercials, King, where I think he looks to Kanye West and he goes, "But are you a different animal, but still the same beast?"
Oh, yes, I've seen that commercial, and to everyone listening, it does sound as bad as the way Dre is putting it across.
It really, there's a whole series of them. It really is that awkward and that bad. Kobe Bryant is just egotistical megalomaniac. Basically Kobe Bryant. But, that's what it comes across to me with Marquez, because last year, sure, he won 6 races, but he also crashed 6 times, and that's what ultimately cost him any real shot at the title. This year, he's just been ultra consistent, and he talked about it in post-race interviews. He was saying that, I learned a painful lesson last year in, not being able to finish, and this year he's changed his game. He knows that he's not going to win every single round, and sometimes he's just not going to be able to win. And taking the points was the smart approach, and he's learned so well. How to adapt to this bike, and a bike that we all think is the second best bike in the field. I mean, every expert will tell you the Yamaha M1 is the strongest bike in the field by some margin, and they've lost the title with 3 rounds to spare. I mean, King, is there any superlatives left for this kid? He's a total genius is the best way I can describe him. I mean, how does he keep doing this, King? It's inexplainable.
It really is. Well, literally the entire MotoGP world around him collapsed. Somehow he was still able to come out with the championship.
The guy who fiddles while Rome burns. And we'll talk about Yamaha's post-mortem in a little bit, but it's incredible. That win was his 55th career win. That puts him above Mick Doohan on the all-time wins list. He's now 6th outright. He's joint all-time pole position record holder with Lorenzo and Rossi, who all have 64 each now. He's only the second Spanish rider to have 3 MotoGP World titles alongside Lorenzo. So, his overall numbers, 55 wins, 89 podiums, 64 pole positions, 48 fastest laps, and 5 world titles in 147 career Grand Prix.
Oh, he still has, 2... in terms of, careers, he still has, a career and a half left.
He's got 10 more good years in him, at least.
Yeah.
10, I'd say. I'd say most MotoGP riders peak around 29... And I'd say most start to fade around mid to late 30s. So, 33, 34, 35. I mean, Rossi's a walking freak that he's still this kind of contender at 30, I want to say 37? I think he's 37 right now. So, that is a miracle in itself. So, the fact that, Marquez could retire tomorrow and he'd be one of the greatest riders that's ever walked this earth. And he's still got probably at least 10 more good years in him. That's a terrifying prospect for us all. He's finished nearly 3/4 of the races in MotoGP on the podium, over half of them on pole, and he's won nearly over 40% of them. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I'm trying to put this into some kind of context. Ooh.
There just isn't, King. There isn't, because
when Sebastian Vettel was 23, he had only one championship.
Yeah, he became the youngest ever world champion at 23 in I think 140 something days. He literally just won his first world title in 2010, and it's unbelievable what we're witnessing. And you know what, King? He's just done something that Valentino Rossi never even did. He won a title on the bike that wasn't the best bike in the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just broken every conventional motorsport code in the book where the best machinery tends to win. In this case, that Honda is a donkey. Nobody else can ride that Honda. Cal Crutchlow will be the first guy to tell you, because we'll talk about Honda's back downside with Pedrosa in a minute, but he said it himself. You could put me in orange leathers right now and it wouldn't make a damn difference. The bikes are practically identical on a satellite level. It's just my chassis different because I like my chassis to be a certain way. So the satellite guys are basically on the same bike, and yet this guy is so much better than everybody else right now, and he's just won the championship on a bike that, according to who you know, and people that, again, will speak on, who know their shit on MotoGP even more than I do, that this bike was second fiddle to Yamaha on paper all year long, and yet here he is, world champion, 3 rounds to spare, and with a 77-point lead on the champion, with only 75 points on the table. I mean, what an unbelievable athlete. For me, I've been watching MotoGP 15 years, and I think that might be the greatest world title I've seen out of any of Valentino Rossi's 9 that he's won in all those years. any of the three that like maybe Lorenzo's 2010 might be in that ballpark, because that year he broke the points record and I think finished every single race in the top 4, which is just, again, just mind-blowing. And that was the year that Rossi broke his leg. But just, I mean, we're going to have probably our own end-of-season review show for us, Dan Roking. I mean, is he a lock now to win, like, Motorsporting Athlete of the Year or something? Because who tops this?
Oh, like, I don't think anyone else could top this. Like, I know second place, if it were to happen, would be a Rosberg championship, but again, that'd be a second place to this.
Yeah, I just... It's unbelievable.
To start the season like he did, and then somehow win the championship with 3 races to go.
Yeah, he had the crash at Le Mans, he got back up and finished in 13th, and I thought, uh-oh, this is where Lorenzo could turn the screw here, because he loves Le Mans. He beat Marquez straight up at Motegi, a race he should have won. Then in Catalunya, you think, and then Catalunya, Lorenzo drops it. Marquez finishes second. And then next thing you realise, wait, Marquez just isn't falling here. He just keeps getting these good results across the board. Like, you take the Le Mans out of the equation, he's finished every race in the top 5 this year. And the 5th was in Austria, a race where he had no chance of winning. Absolutely zero. That Honda was way off the pace compared to Ducati in Austria. And every other round, top 4 better, and he's only finished in 4th twice this year. I think that's 11 podium finishes out of 15 races this year. That's you just don't beat that level of consistency. It's unbelievable. So, you know, on behalf of all of us here, congratulations to Marc.